Obviously a tough time for that to happen. I got some really good looks. I felt I had three wide open threes in the first half.
Caitlin Clark played a terrible game, shot 4 of 17 from the field. The Indiana Fever got curb stomped by the Connecticut Sun.
Megan Rapinoe just dropped a truth bomb on USA Today, and it's all about that crazy eye poke drama with Caitlin Clark. But here's the thing, it's way more than just about basketball. We're talking racism, media bias, and why it matters for every WNBA fan. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. So here's what went down. During a playoff game on September 22nd, DiJonai Carrington accidentally poked Caitlin Clark in the eye. Clark ended up with a black eye, and the media went wild. It was all over the news, social media, you name it. But guess what? This whole mess is shining a light on something way bigger than just one game. We're talking racism, media bias, and why every WNBA fan should care. It's not just about who poked who anymore. You know what's even crazier? One simple question from a journalist turned this into a full-blown showdown about race in women's sports. Stick around, because you're about to see how Megan Rapinoe is changing the game off the court. And that question? It wasn't just any old post-game interview. Imagine a single sentence that could expose deep-rooted biases in sports media. That's exactly what happened when USA Today's Christine Brennan stepped up to the mic. Picture this. A packed press room, cameras rolling, and DiJonai Carrington in the hot seat. The air's thick with tension after that intense playoff game on September 22nd. Everyone's waiting to hear about the eye poke incident with Caitlin Clark. Then boom! Brennan drops the question that set everything on fire. She asked Carrington if she meant to poke Clark in the eye. Just like that, a simple play on the court turned into a full-blown controversy.
Caitlin, could you tell us a little bit about your eye, the hit, if it affected you, how it affected you, and through the rest of the game? Thanks.
Any kind of critique of Caitlin Clark, because that gives fodder to those who believe she's being hated on and ostracized to some degree.
Obviously a tough time for that to happen. I got some really good looks. I felt I had three wide open threes in the first half.
It's like asking a boxer if they meant to punch their opponent. Of course, they didn't mean to cause harm, right? Carrington was put in a tough spot. She had to defend herself against an accusation she never saw coming. "I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball," she said. You can almost feel the frustration in her voice, can't you? But here's where it gets wild. This question? It didn't just upset Carrington. It lit a fire under Megan Rapinoe, and she's about to bring the heat. We're talking about a soccer superstar stepping into a basketball controversy. Why? Because sometimes it's not just about the sport, it's about something much bigger. You see, Rapinoe saw right through that question. She didn't just hear words, she heard bias, and she wasn't about to let it slide. This isn't just about one player or one incident anymore. It's about how we talk about race in sports, period. Think about it. How often do you see white players getting asked if they meant to hurt someone? Now flip that and think about how often black players face those same questions. See the problem? That's exactly what Rapinoe's getting at. So, what started as a simple question in a post-game interview has now exploded into a full-on debate about racial bias in sports media. It's got everyone from players to fans questioning everything they thought they knew about race in the WNBA. And let me tell you, this is just the beginning. Rapinoe's response? It's about to shake things up in a big way. We're talking about challenging the entire system of how we talk about athletes, how we perceive their actions, and how race plays into all of it. You might be thinking, it's just one question, right? Wrong. It's a symptom of a much bigger problem. And Rapinoe? She's about to use her platform to shine a spotlight on it. She's not just calling out one reporter or one question. She's challenging the entire narrative around race in sports. One question, two sports. A whole lot of controversy. Rapinoe's response isn't just making waves, it's starting a tsunami. But why is a soccer player's take on a basketball incident causing such an uproar? Megan Rapinoe just stepped into the WNBA drama, and she's not holding back. She's calling out USA Today's Christine Brennan for what she sees as a racist question. And let me tell you, it's not pretty. Rapinoe didn't mince words. She straight up said that Brennan's question to DiJonai Carrington wasn't just bad journalism. It was a blatant attempt to bait a professional athlete into participating in a narrative that is false. That's harsh, right? But Rapinoe's not done. She's pointing out something bigger here. It's not just about one question or one incident. Rapinoe's saying there's a whole system of bias in how we talk about athletes. She thinks the media's got a natural instinct to protect and narrate white players versus go after and narrate black players. Think about that for a second. How often do you see white players getting grilled about their intentions? Now flip that and think about black players. See the difference? That's exactly what Rapinoe's getting at. But here's where it gets even crazier.
I felt like my shot felt right there. That's why it's so frustrating as a shooter, when it feels so good, but it won't go down for you. That's what sucks about it. But like I said, I'm proud of our team.
Caitlin Clark played a terrible game, shot 4 of 17 from the field. The Indiana Fever got curb stomped by the Connecticut Sun.
Overall, coach said in the locker room, we were down 3 the first quarter, down 5 second quarter, and then lost by 3 in the third. We were right there, and I felt like we just played a crappy game.
Rapinoe and Sue Bird took to their podcast to break this down further. They're not just talking about the question. They're questioning the whole idea that Carrington could have intentionally poked Clark in the eye. Rapinoe and Bird were like, do you know how hard it would be to aim and poke someone in the eye? It's almost funny when you think about it. They're basically saying, come on, this is ridiculous. But it's not funny, not really. Because what Rapinoe's pointing out is a serious problem in sports media. She's saying that this kind of questioning, this kind of narrative, it's not just unfair, it's dangerous. It can lead to racist backlash against players. And that's where this whole thing gets bigger than basketball. It's not just about Caitlin Clark and DiJonai Carrington anymore. It's about how we talk about race in sports, period. Rapinoe's using her platform to shine a spotlight on something that's been going on for way too long. She's not just calling out one reporter or one question, she's challenging the entire narrative around race in sports. This is huge, folks. We're talking about changing the way we think about athletes, how we perceive their actions, and how race plays into all of it. Rapinoe's not just talking, she's demanding change. And you know what? People are listening. This isn't just some Twitter drama that'll blow over in a day. This is the kind of thing that could change how sports media operates. It's about accountability, fairness, and recognizing our own biases. You think this stops with Rapinoe? Nope. The WNBA is on fire, and players are done being silent. This could change everything. The WNBA Players Union just dropped a bombshell, and it's making Rapinoe's comments look like child's play. They're not just backing up Megan, they're taking it to a whole new level. The union's statement didn't pull any punches. They called out Brennan's question as unprofessional and said she's abusing her media privileges. That's harsh, right? But it gets even better. They're saying Brennan doesn't even deserve her credentials. Talk about throwing down the gauntlet. But this isn't just about one reporter or one question anymore. This whole mess with Clark and Carrington, it's bringing up some serious issues in the WNBA. We're talking racism, fan abuse, the whole 9 yards. And it's not new. Remember the rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese? Yeah, that wasn't just about basketball either.
We didn't shoot the ball like we're capable of, but even that to the side, we're capable of winning this game without making shots. Our defense could have been a little bit better.
Caitlin Clark's trying to pass the ball in the first 2 minutes of the game, and this woman swats at the basketball and somehow decides to turn her hand down and her fingernails.
We were down 8 or something, maybe 11 going into the fourth. We had our chances. I felt like I said, we didn't play well. We didn't play to the level that we're capable of playing.
WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert tried to play it cool. She compared the Clark-Reese thing to old NBA rivalries. But Rapinoe wasn't having it. She shut that down real quick, saying it's way more serious than that. And you know what? She's right. Players are fed up. They're not just sitting back and taking it anymore. They're speaking out about how they're portrayed in the media, how they're treated by fans. It's like they've all decided enough is enough. Even Caitlin Clark, who's been at the center of all this drama, is speaking up. She's not okay with racist fan abuse. She's saying it loud and clear, this stuff has no place in the league, period. It's wild to think about. The WNBA's having this amazing season, breaking records left and right. But instead of talking about the awesome games, we're dealing with all this off-court drama. It's like the league's at a crossroads. They've got to figure out how to handle these racial tensions, how to deal with the media narratives. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about changing how we talk about women in sports, period. It's about making sure every player, no matter their race, gets treated with respect. On the court, off the court, in the media, everywhere. And let me tell you, the players aren't waiting around for someone else to fix things. They're taking charge. They're using their voices, their platforms, to demand change. It's like watching a whole new game unfold, but this time, the real action's happening off the court. So what's next? That's the million-dollar question. Are we going to see more players speaking out? Will the media change how they cover the WNBA? And what about the fans? How are they going to respond to all this? One thing's for sure, the WNBA's never going to be the same after this. The players have found their voice, and they're not about to lose it. This could be the start of something big, a whole new era for women's basketball. An era where players don't just play the game, they change it. All right, let's break this down. Rapinoe called out a journalist for a question she saw as racist. The WNBA Players Union backed her up, saying the reporter was out of line. This isn't just about one incident anymore. It's about changing how we talk about women in sports, period. Think about it. The WNBA's having its best season ever, but we're not talking about the games. We're talking about racism and media bias. That's crazy, right? But it's also important. Players are speaking up, demanding respect on and off the court. So what can you do? Question what you see in the media. Support athletes who are pushing for change. This isn't just about basketball. It's about fairness, respect, and equality. Rapinoe and the WNBA aren't just playing games. They're changing them, and that's a win for everyone.